Hey yo, it's time to roar, get loud, let's ignite. Jeremy B in the house, we keeping it tight. Every weekday at 11, we ready to ride. Lions Talk Live, come and join the pride. Waking up early, it's that morning grind. Tune in to the show, leave the troubles behind. Jeremy B's the king, with the voice like thunder. Every word he spits, it's a lyrical wonder. Got the lions around, sharp and fierce. When we hear one pride, you can't help but feel your heart pierce. Talking all the topics, keep it real, keep it raw. With a lion's mentality, we're ready for the roar. One pride, it feels right. Jeremy B bringing the heat, morning light. Every weekday at 11 we taking flight. Lions Talk Alive, yeah, we ready to bite. One pride, hear us loud. Jeremy's in the zone, making us proud.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good afternoon. It is Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. Noon on the Eastern Coast, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific. How's everybody doing today? And it's always PFF Tuesday here. You know, that's where we go over the PFF scores on who was the best and who was the worst. And I'm still trying to figure out how El-Kadim Muhammad and Aiden Hutchinson ranked up there as two of the best defenders when they had zeros in the stat column. It makes no sense to me. Yoli, good to see you. But the Lions did make a signing today. Hey, Motown, what up, though? Lions rule, Bears rule, Packers are lactose intolerant, and Vikings are actually queens. I'm doing well. I came out here and owned up that we sucked Sunday. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We couldn't run the ball. We were only averaging 5.8 yards per play. We only scored 13 points. You can say PFF is trash, but it is a metric. But I don't agree with El-Kadim Muhammad and Aiden Hutchinson being in there with our top defenders. That makes no damn sense to me. So on offense, number one, Isaac Tesla with a 96.2. Penei Sewell had a 70.8. And Sam Laporta with a 70.6. Everybody wants to point out the 4 plays where Parsons got through Penei Sewell. But they don't want to talk about all the plays he did that was good versus Parsons. You know, Parsons was on the field for 25 snaps. His last snap was the best snap. That was when he sacked Goff. But it took him until the 5:06 mark of the fourth quarter for time left before he got it. Our lowest offensive grade, Graham Glasgow, Jared Goff, Brock Wright. I agree to an extent. I agree. I've said this. But it says the top defender for the Lions was El-Kadim Muhammad, and I'm trying to figure out what he did with zeros across the board. 0 pressures, 0 tackles, 4 assisted tackles, no sacks. I don't get how he got there. Brian Branch was number 2 with an 85.1, which I agree with. Where was Kirby Joseph this game? Did he play? Because I didn't hear him, other than when they talked about last year about him. Lowest grades. Well-deserved, Rock Yarson. What's my nickname for Caleb? Austin Hacker, good to see you. Caleb is LGBTQB1. I gave it to him when he was drafted. But thank you, Omnipo B. LGBTQB1. He's a metrosexual. You can tell by how he acts, how he paints his nails, how he makes it match his phone case. Second was DJ Reed. Third was TK Talik Williams. Which is weird because I thought Talik Williams and Reeder did a great job in stopping the run up the middle because they didn't get much. We did sign a backup tech. Caleb Perry Williams. It was funny to see them getting booed heading out of the stadium in their own hometown. Yeah, we do have to. We just need to win. We did sign an offensive tackle, a backup tackle from off of the Bengals. Uh, Let me look that up again. What was his name? Devin Cochran. And to me, that's just a depth piece move, and it's due to the fact that Jamarco Jones being out for the season. That means probably Jacob Sailors or one of those many defensive players who did absolutely nothing goes to the practice squad or to the free agency pool. I don't know. I don't know how to fix this whole line. But if Tate Ratledge is seen as the future center, we might as well move him now and let him have growing pains. Because to me, he looked less lost than Graham Glasgow. Graham Glasgow looked awful. I don't know how else to play it. Well, yeah, because we weren't able to get sacked. We had 9 pressures and 2 QB hits throughout the entire game. We didn't get home. We blitzed 40% of the time, and you couldn't tell it on the screen. I understand that, Joseph. I know we need to win. But at this point, I would move Tate Ratledge to center. It can't be worse than what we saw last week. Because Graham Glasgow literally looked at Davenport coming across on that stunt and went to the right and opened that hole that almost got a safety. Rashawn Gary. How do you move out of position for blocking someone and give him a free run? And if Gary wasn't so stupid that he pulled him out of the end zone, it'd have been a safety and it'd have been 29 and 13. Uh, Chip block? No, he got double teamed, tackled, pancaked, everything under the sun. How do we fix it? I don't know. Yeah, you're asking the wrong person here because I with what I saw, I was embarrassed. We lost, but I'm still not hitting the panic button because it's week 1. I'm just saying Dan Campbell was glowing during week 2 when he started talking about Ratledge and how he was doing at center. Week 3 starts, they moved Glasgow the first day, and he goes, "Well, it just looked better today, so he's our starter." That's not giving Ratledge the flowers he earned. I was actually dumbfounded by the move. I was upset by it because I said, "Man, they're going to screw this kid up," and it looks like it did. I don't know how else to explain it. Rock Yassin, I know why he got the lowest grade. That defensive holding. It was blatant defensive holding. In slow mo, it doesn't look that bad, but in real speed, it was blatant. But thank God he did because we'd have gave him 15 yards for what Aiden did. So it sucks because that was a momentum changing play. That was a power play on defense, a pick 6. Branch keeping the streak alive of somebody throwing a touchdown going the other way. All right, Pat Rothwell. We don't know. I think they got to keep it the same this week. We need a longer break before we move somebody. That's just my opinion. Um, it might not be to the middle of the season, but at that time the damage may be done. I don't know what to do with this O line. I don't. I'm not Hank Fraley. I'm not Dan Campbell. Yeah, you said it. It made me sick. It made me sick to watch the whole thing. We They double teamed Hutch the whole game. And if you didn't see that he was getting pancaked in the backfield the entire time, then I don't know what you watched. They would chip him with the tight end, or they would literally double team him. It was awful. That guy went through the ninth circle of hell. It was almost every other play. It was awful. I don't. My panic level is raised up to a 4. I had it at a 1 on all the changing and everything because I thought that this coaching staff would be able to handle it and get him in shape. Davenport had 3 tackles, 2 of them solo. Hutchison didn't have any. Al-Qadim Muhammad didn't have any. Life on the road at Lambeau. No, it hasn't been this way for us. The previous 3 seasons we won in Lambeau. I don't want to hear that that's life on the road in Lambeau. Now we're 3-2 at Lambeau. I think Za'Darius didn't want to be here or he'd have taken the deal he was offered 3 weeks ago. I think Za'Darius decided he didn't want to be here. No matter what he said on social media, that was a puff piece to keep the fans happy. You know what I think he wanted? I think he wanted to keep plowing cash down and go where he wanted to go. Uh, I didn't see very many holds. I'm sorry. When I say he was tackled as soon as he was on the ground, he was let go. He wasn't held there. So uh we've done that lots of times and it usually works. It didn't work because nobody else got home. That's the problem. Their O line did a great job shutting us down. We blitzed 40% of the time and you couldn't tell because everyone was stopped. They were prepared and we weren't. Leave it at that. They looked like a prepared team. Why? Guess what? They played some starters this year in the preseason. You say it's dropping into coverage bullshit, but yet Hutchinson has had an interception every year. So I don't agree with it all the time, but that's when they do it, is in the 3rd and long situation. No playing in the preseason. And yes, it's coaching. Dan Campbell thinks that the joint practices are better than games. I don't. The proof is we come out slow the first 2 weeks every year. We do this all the time. Remember, we only scored 24 and won. We scored 21 and lost the next week. Then we went on a tear where we ended up averaging 33 points a game or 31 points a game, whatever it was at the end of the season. Yeah, but he was dropped back in coverage. And then he stole one last year from Kyler Murray. Dan Campbell thinks the joint practices are better than playing in preseason games. Well, the Packers played their starters in one game. The Chargers played their starters in every game. The Broncos played starters in a couple of games. The Colts played starters in a couple of games. The Bears and the Minnesota Vikings played starters in a couple of games. Guess what? They all look better than what we put on the field in the North. And that's sad for me to say that the Bears look better prepared than the Lions in week 1. Because they came out like gangbusters. But guess what? Brian Flores and KOC changed everything and did something. And J.J. McCarthy was the same J.J. McCarthy we'd see at Michigan. Yep. They disguised it. We had people there and then everybody dropped back. I think it might be more than that. With what I saw, I have no. And J.J. McCarthy looked great in the fourth quarter. He looked just like he did at Michigan. He disappeared in the beginning of that game and was awful. He threw a pick 6. I couldn't believe they won that game. But he threw for 2 touchdowns and rushed for 1. And that's the first time that's happened with a rookie quarterback in one quarter since one Cam Newton his rookie year. Mine is the interior O line more than anything. I think that because rushing defense we were good. We placed in the top 10 again. We were one of the best run defending teams. So that interior O line means more than everything, and it looked awful. That for me, I don't even blame Johnny Morton because he can only do what he can do. Everybody, but there's the thing: if JJ starts out hot, he falters in the second half. If he starts out bad, he comes in great in the second half. That's what he did at Michigan all the time. He's still the same quarterback. He's just in different colors and in the NFL now. And will that win against some of these better teams that are better equipped? Who knows? But we all said that this O line needed snaps to gel, and it was shoot. There's a reason why he only threw 25 passes or less through the last 5 games of the season for Michigan. That is true. They hid him behind a great rushing attack, which is smart coaching. And you know, we had 19 carries for 44 yards. Awful. That's for both of them combined. 2.2 yards per carry, 5.8 yards average pass. That's not going to win you very many games. We only had 2 passes downfield the entire game over 20 yards. One was to Sam Laporta, the other one was to Amon-Ra St. Brown. We only had one power rushing play where it went over 10 yards. That was at the beginning of the game with Jahmyr Gibbs, and then he disappeared. Because they swallowed us up because the O-line was that bad. Our bread and butter has been being able to run up the middle, and we couldn't do it because the O-line was that bad. And that's not what we're used to here in Detroit. Even against that, even in 2021 when we sucked versus the 49ers, we didn't look like that. I said between 10 and 12 wins the entire time. I didn't see. I see at least 5 wins on this schedule, And that was including possibly losing in Lambeau week 1. I said that on my show. So, and I think it's still that thing. I think that's it. Oh, excuse me. Heartburn. Give credit where credit's due. Green Bay played a solid game, a solid attack. They only passed the ball 6 times in the second half. 6 times. Because all the damage was done in the first half. So say what you want. You know, the 2 pass plays back to back to get a touchdown to go up 17-3 was awful. First one was what? 40 yards right off the rip? Maybe 50? That was to Romeo Dobbs, I believe, and then Jaden Reed into the corner of the end zone from 17 yards out. It was painful to watch. Painful. And they ran zone. They took away what we're good at. We beat man defense usually because of JMO's speed and because of Amon-Ra's elusiveness. It didn't show because they were in zone coverage, and it worked. Zone coverage works when you have, well, below average corners. And the interception, I'm not even mad at Goff at. Everybody's like throwing their arms up on that. He had a guy in his face, and the guy broke on the ball and jumped the route and made a great play. Evan Williams made a fantastic play as a safety. Dove right in front of the receiver. So it was a great defensive play on 2 parts, and the pass was on target. The guy was there. The guy jumped it. So no, I don't blame Goff on that. He went 31 and 39, over 200 yards, 5.8 yards per pass. Last year he averaged almost 8 yards a pass, so that's the difference. I think so, because we were getting beat. We should have switched to zone, especially once Terrion got hurt. We only had one great play by DJ Reed that I saw. We saw a great play in the end zone by Terrion Arnold before he was hurt, where he defended a pass. That was good. So there was some good to take away if you actually were paying attention to the good, very few good plays that happened. But Anzalone dropping the 1 interception. But if he didn't drop that, Branch wouldn't have got the other one that was a pick 6 that was negated by Rock Yassin and Naden Hudson, because there was 2 penalties on that play. I'm not even trying to be a homer here. I'm not trying to defend it. It is what it is. We played like shit. We played uninspired. Our team came out playing flatter than Travis Kelce's fiance. I saw no emotion. I didn't see grit. I didn't see the intensity we're used to. So yes, my panic meter went up from a 1 to 4. Because guess what? I refuse to overreact and say the season's over after week 1. Do I know how to fix it? No. Do I know ideas of what they can do to fix it? Sure. But at this point, Glasgow is not a center in the NFL. He had one good year at center, and that was the year that he filled in for Travis Swanson when he got hurt during his rookie contract with Detroit when he moved from left guard to center. That was his only good year at center. Other than that, it hasn't been good. He had good years at Michigan, but not here. Not in the NFL, not against elite talent. When we signed him back the second time, the year that he played right guard exclusively all year, he had a good year. That was his best year for us statistically. Then we signed Zeitler, who is a right guard, and had to move him over to left guard. And he was awful there. And it's weird because that's where he started as a rookie, was left guard. One of the reasons why Taylor Decker looked good through those first 6 games. I just don't understand what's happening. I know we still got the same O-line coach, and I can't understand why he hasn't been able to get them to get on the same page yet. So when I say that the Lions were exasperated because of the loss of Frank Ragnow, I wish he'd have told them before the draft that he was retiring, that he just would have did it, because I think the draft might have gone differently. And I'm not saying we wouldn't have drafted Malik Williams or Tate Ratledge, but we might have grabbed a center. At this point, I would elevate Kingsley Eguakun. To me, Tate Ratledge didn't look as bad as Graham Glasgow. But that's just me. Because I didn't expect as much out of a rookie. He only gave up 1 sack. They had 9 QB hits and 4 sacks on Jared Goff. I've never heard this when our O-line played right. Fuck it. Give Taylor or Frank Ragnow $20 million this year just to come back. I don't care if he's lost 30 pounds of weight and he's enjoying himself fishing and having time with his family. Bring him in right off the street. His left foot that's been damaged forever would be better than Graham Glasgow. But yes, I would consider starting Kingsley Eguakun, who did an admirable job, sometimes against starting defenses in the preseason. I would so elevate him. Smoking Dad, good to see you. Got in before I went off the air this time. I love it. I've been missing you. I'm glad you messaged the other day because I hadn't heard from you. I think some of the problem was that center position too. I think a lot of it was. Look at that play where the safety almost happened when Rashawn Gary pulled Goff out of the end zone. Glasgow was out of position. Everybody else was in a centered zone blocking position, and Glasgow moved all the way over by Tate Ratledge, focused on the defensive tackle over there. So Gary spun it around and came in untouched. And thank God Gary was stupid enough to do the opposite of what was it? Todd Gurley did when he was with Atlanta. I said that to see if him and Brandon Sharif want to come out of retirement. Brandon Sharif won't. He's overseas. He's having time with his wife. Yeah, I follow some of the guys when they retire and see what they're doing. And Rags is just having fun being outdoors man or grizzly man or whatever he calls himself. Grizzly man outdoors. Bring him back. Come on, Brad, make the call. Spend some money. I don't mind spending $20 million to keep him. I don't know if you guys were watching back then, but about 3 weeks before the season, when Brad made the announcement he made the ball is in Z's court, there was a rumored deal that was on the table for Z. And if he'd have signed here, he'd have made more money than he made in Philly. So I'm done with this. We dropped the ball about not trying to sign Z shit. because guess what? If he wanted to be here, he'd have been here. End of story. He's chasing money in a ring. He tried to get more money, and because he didn't sign till after week 1, he lost money. He'd been making $11.25 million here per year, but it had been stretched out over 4 years. But a lot of it would have been signing bonus and paid up front. But at the time that offer was made was during that week when him and Cashdoll broke up, and I'm quite sure he wasn't ready to come back and practice. Oh yeah, I mean, look at her. If I was plowing Cashdoll, I wouldn't want to work either. Just saying. But that's basically the news. That's what's going on. Um, go check and see if I got anything else from Lion Central real quick before I cut off the show. $100%. I agree. Yeah, Daniel Thomas broke a bone in his hand, but he's going to get a cast and play through it. He's going to do the Bam Chancellor thing. But thank you for watching. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right there. We face off against LGBTQB1 this week. Make them take the Cobb long way. Fuck the Bears. Have a great day, everybody.